Hi, my name is Dan. I'm with a company called Triad RV Parts, and as you probably well know by now, LED for RV. And today I want to do an informational video on dimming LED lights. Now, I often get asked, can you dim LED lights?
And the answer is yes.
Now, in order to dim LED lights, you have to have a pulse width modulation dimmer, or a PWM dimmer. Now, if your unit already has a dimmer in it and you're wondering if you have a PWM dimmer, then the best thing to do is get a known good dimmable LED and stick it in and see if it works. Now, how are you going to know if it's a known good? Most places that you get LEDs from, they're going to be able to tell you if it is dimmable or not. Now, if you get a known good dimmable LED and you put it in and yours is not a PWM dimmer, then essentially what's going to happen is just as soon as you get to a certain point, it's just going to cut completely off. And then when you turn it back up, it's just going to cut completely on. It's not going to have the dimmable feature, but your dimmer does not have to come out of your unit for you to be able to take advantage of LED lights. Now, I often get emails and phone calls from folks who are refurbishing older units, and they want to know about putting dimmers in their units. And the main thing to keep in mind, if you are going to be going this route and you've got all the interior out of your unit, is that you cannot have an open ground. In other words, you cannot have the ground wire attached to the hull of the unit and then have the power supply on the other end attaching to the unit. You have to have a closed circuit.
Now, to explain what I'm talking about, and when I refer to a closed circuit, I'm going to use this little small dimmer right here. On this end is where it's set up for the power to go in, and on this end right here, it's for the power to go out. Now, you notice for the grounds, there's two separate wires. Essentially, this ground cannot come in contact with this ground. Okay. Now, how you wire your unit on this end isn't nearly as important, but on this end it is. In other words, it has to be a complete circuit. You have to run these two wires, and you need to run two separate wires, one for the ground and one for the power, all the way down through that string of lights. Now, you can daisy chain them, or essentially, have many lights on this circuit. LEDs don't use much power, so you can really load these circuits up. However, you have to have a ground wire running all the way down and touching the grounds of all those lights, and then you'll have to have a power wire running down through there naturally, to the other wire on the rest of those lights. Now, another thing that I run into is that people find the dimmers that look exactly like these, and we do sell these, and what they have found is they are not PWM dimmers. There's, like I say, there's a lot of them that look like these, but they're not PWM dimmers. So, buyer beware. This is one that can be mounted on, on the wall or underneath the skin, and to where only the knob is exposed, which is really nice if you're doing a complete wiring job. This one right here is another really nice feature, and it kind of scares people because it has a little fob with it. And what happens is they're concerned that that little fob is going to get lost. But what's neat about this radio frequency one right here is it's not so terribly expensive, but the neat thing is that it can be hidden, in the back of your unit where the 12-volt system is. So you don't have to have a direct line of sight to it. Now, if you're concerned about losing the fob, I mean, you can anchor it somewhere on the wall so it doesn't get gone. And then at the same time, you can hide this back there in the cabinet, and then you can have, an existing row of lights to be dimmed.
There's not an awful lot to it when it comes to using dimmers on your LEDs. The main thing that I want to get across is that if you do have a dimmer in your unit, you're going to switch over, what to expect. And of course, if you are planning it or were in the planning stages of remodeling your unit and doing some major rework to it, that you made sure that you did the proper wiring so that when you got ready to install your dimmers, that you could take advantage of this nice feature. It's always nice to be able to turn the lights down low and relax when you're camping on vacation, that type of thing. So it's a real plus to use a dimmer. As always, if you've got any questions or comments, you can email me at dan@trvparts.com or dan@ledforrv.com. And we also have other helpful hints and tips on trvparts.net and ledforrv.net. Thanks for watching.